When it comes to strength training, we very often think that we have to work in the free weight section. It has to be dumbbells, barbells, kettlebells, and that is the only way to go, and that is simply not true. It is time for us to stop hating on the strength training machines in your gym. That hate is completely overrated, and it's preventing you from getting the most out of your training and from mixing things up too.
Machine is a very useful tool, but it's overlooked completely when it comes to actually training it in an effective way.
Exactly. It's interesting because it got demonized at some point. There was a point where you walked into a Gold's Gym, you walked into a New York sports club, and all you saw were machines and plenty of people were training on them. Then we have this whole functional fitness revolution. Suddenly, nobody's training on the machines. That section is untouched in your gym, and you're missing out when you're not getting on those machines. Let's address some of the myths about machine training first, and then we're going to show you how to train machines.
The first knock on machine training is that you can build total body tension. And yes, you can. Just like any exercise, you have to create the tension. The machine doesn't create the tension, right? We have to turn our core on. We have to turn our glutes on to press the weight, or you can just lay on the bench and press the weight, but you're only getting half the benefit or half the strength you can apply to the exercise if you're not creating that tension through your full body.
Exactly. The bench press is really the greatest example. What separates a bench, a tool that we use to train, from the machine press, another tool that we use to train? Either way, we really have to choose to squeeze our glutes and abs. We have to choose to get in a good position. All I have to do is really squeeze and think about it. I can do that on any exercise, whether I'm doing it on a bench, whether I'm doing it standing, or whether I'm doing it in the machine. And the second knock on machines is that they're plain just too easy. It's perceived that all of a sudden we're not training our stabilizing muscles, and therefore we're not going to get enough challenge out of the machine press or the preacher curl machine or the leg press. We're not going to get the same challenge that we would if we were doing free weight alternatives. That is true to an extent, but remember, every single exercise you do, you get to choose the load. Because I don't have to focus as much on my stabilizing muscles when I'm using a machine, one, I still want to create the good tension, like Matt said, but two, I can also go heavier on a lot of these exercises. I can create challenge in different ways. Once I'm going heavier, it is not easier anymore.
And that leads us right into our third myth. It's not functional. What does that even mean? Anything is functional to life, right? Whether we're pulling on a machine or we're pulling on a dumbbell, we're still getting that pulling strength, and that still relates to anything we're doing in life.
And also, not every exercise needs to be functional for it to be effective. It's still training muscles that will help us later. So there are ways to use machines. We have 3 ways to integrate machines into your workout so you can stop avoiding that section in the gym.
3 ways we can use machines in our workouts, and honestly, it's probably one of my favorite because I like to use it at the end of a workout, and you may have heard bodybuilders talk about this. After you burn out all the free weights and the stabilizers in your muscles, now we go to a machine at the end of the workout. Now we're gonna be able to overload the muscle. We're gonna be able to not have to worry about failing on a rep because we have our personal spot, the machine, it's on a fixed axis, but also we're gonna be able to get that much more work in a pressing or pulling or whatever the exercise motion you're doing than we would if we had to rely on a dumbbell and then worrying about dropping it halfway up because we can't lock out that rep.
Exactly, heavy weight volume. That is what I love about machines. You're able to load up the weight and pile up reps and push through that fatigue point. Love the fact that you said the machine acts like your spot, because essentially when I'm on a burnout set on the free dumbbell or barbell press and I have a spot behind me, they're functioning like my machine to protect me. The machine just does that for me. The second way you can use machines is to challenge different points on the force curve. So there are easy points and hard points when we're working with free weight exercises. A lot of machines in your gym, especially if you study them, they're gonna challenge a different point of the motion. So I may do a dumbbell lateral raise. That is very easy at the bottom of the rep. It's very hard at the top of the rep. In the middle, sometimes I'm using momentum. If I find the right machine in my gym, that lateral raise can make the midpoint of the motion harder. You're gonna find that about a lot of machines. It is a great way to change up the stimulus, challenge the muscles in a different way while isolating them. Again, we can still pile up some reps, and we're getting something that's gonna make us better at our free weight motions too.
Another way we can use machines is to change up our routine, right? You can continue doing what you're doing, but maybe we add that machine chest press into the play, and now we focus more on the eccentric. We could load it up, heavy press, remove one arm, and then we have that eccentric overload. And these are just different techniques that we can add in. That's not this week we're going in doing bench press again. No, well now we can put a different spin on it that We're still gonna receive a big benefit from it, change up our normal routine, but it's gonna make it a little more exciting.
Exactly, and we're all looking for ways to change up our routines. And yes, we could do some kind of single leg, single arm, half balanced on the bench, paused, all kinds of things, bench press. That is one way to change up our routine. That's what we're limited to if we're stuck with dumbbells and barbells. Or we can go over to that whole section of the gym that you've been avoiding with the machines, play in that area, get some good contractions, and use a couple different ideas. That's what we're trying to get you to do. Just change up your routines. Machines are not gonna be the backbone of your routine, but they are a great way to mix things up. You're gonna get a lot of benefit from them if you use them. So get out of the free weight section only, take that caution sign down from the machine part of the gym, head over there and you'll build plenty of strength.